How's it going, guys? So, as I've spoken many times on this program about this before, about the idea of, about the idea of Ponzi schemes and about the idea of cults, about the idea of pump and dumps, guys. As with most of these things, you guys know the story. I don't have to tell you, these things come to an end. And one of the things that you guys see, or one of the things that people see, hopefully you guys will see it and notice it and, be able to actually acknowledge it, is that people who invest in these kind of things, so to speak, or are part of these sort of things, they tend to hold on to the bitter end, and they tend to rationalize their investments to the bitter end, and you come to them and you say, there's a problem here, and there's a problem here, and that they start to rationalize. They start to tell you, no, like I said, guys, it's like a battered woman, it's a battered wife, as it were. And listen, guys, they're left holding the bag. This is a classic story, And not only that, it seems like when you talk to them and you bring them documents and videos and all kinds of information that runs contrary to what they have been told or to what they think or what they've been convinced of, they cannot even look at it. They can't accept it. They call it, Schmake news. They call it Schmapiracy theory. They call it, Schmish, Schminformation, all these kind of things. They have names for these. They call you anti, water, It's a nice label that they put on you. So guys, with all that said, I want to read to you guys an interesting article that I came across. It's from a blog. Actually, I won't name the blog because I don't really want to, incur the wrath of the fake gods with a small g on this platform. But I'm going to read from this blog, and then I can post a link maybe afterwards. We'll see how I can do it. The title of the post is called, and it was actually written yesterday, it's called "The Last Days of the Shmovidian Cult are not going to be pretty." I don't really know who is the publisher of this. One second. Not sure. But let's read it. It's going to be interesting. This is not going to be pretty, folks. The downfall of a death cult rarely is. There's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth, incoherent fanatical jabbering, and mass deleting of embarrassing tweets. There's going to be a veritable tsunami of desperate rationalizing, strenuous denying, shameless blame shifting, and other forms of ass covering, as suddenly former Shmovidian cult members make a last-minute break for the jungle before the fully you-know-what and schmoosted, safe and effective Kool-Aid servers get to them. Yes, that's right. Oh, so this is basically like the people that you talk to, guys. Yes, that's right. As I'm sure you've noticed, the official Shmovid narrative is finally falling apart or is being hastily disassembled. No, disassembled, Johnny Pipe. That's just my addition. Or historically revised right before our eyes. The experts and authorities are finally acknowledging that the Shmovid Shmeths and Schmospilization statistics are artificially inflated and totally unreliable, which they have been from the very beginning, and they are admitting that their miracle you-know-whats don't work unless you change the definition of what a you-know-what is, right? Which the CDIC actually did, guys, if you know. And that they have killed a few people, or maybe more than a few people, and that schmockdowns were probably a serious mistake. I'm not going to bother with further citations. You can surf the internet as well as I can. The point is, the apocalyptic schmendemic PSYOP has reached its expiration date. After almost 2 years of mass hysteria over a schmirus that causes mild to moderate common schmold or schmoo-like symptoms, or absolutely no symptoms whatsoever, in about 95% of the schmifected, and the overall schmetality rate of which is approximately 0.1% to 0.5% people's nerves are shot. We are all exhausted. Even the Shmovidian cultists are exhausted, and they're starting to abandon the cult en masse. It was always mostly just a matter of time, as Santa Claus Schmab said. The pandemic represented a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. Nanobots, yes. That's just my addition. It isn't over. It isn't over, but that window is closing, and our world has not been reimagined and reset, not irrevocably, not just yet. Clearly, Global Cap underestimated the potential resistance to the Great Shmiset and the time it would take to crush that resistance. And now the clock is running down, and the resistance isn't crushed. On the contrary, it is growing. And there is nothing Global Cap can do to stop it other than to go openly schmotalitarian, which it can't, as that would be suicidal. And as I noted, meaning we would come after them with pitchforks. They realize that. Excuse me, guys. As I noted in a recent column, new normal to schmotalitarianism and any global capitalist form of schmotalitarianism cannot display itself as totalitarianism or even authoritarianism. It cannot acknowledge its political nature. In order to exist, it must not exist. My friends, I told you this before. It's the same thing with the stuff they want us to take. And my friend asked me, if they wanted to, wipe out lots of sheeple, wouldn't they just poison the water? Wouldn't they just, gas and this? And I said, no, man, that would be noticed immediately. What's better, I guess, this is what they're trying to do, is under the guise of medicine, right? Above all, it must erase its violence, the violence that all politics ultimately comes down to, and appear to us as an essentially beneficent response to a legitimate global health schmisis. The simulated global health schmisis is, for all intents and purposes, over, which means that a global cap has screwed the pooch. And the thing is, if you intend to keep the masses whipped up into a mindless frenzy of anus-puckering paranoia over an apocalyptic global schmandemic, at some point you have to produce an actual apocalyptic global schmandemic. Fake statistics and propaganda will carry you for a while, but eventually people are going to need to experience something at least resembling an actual devastating worldwide schmeg, in reality not just on their phones and TVs. Also, Global Cap seriously overplayed their hand with the miracle, Schmovidian cultists. One second, guys. You know what? I want to get to the bottom of this. What is this? Global Cap. What is Global Cap? Global Cap is... Oh, like global capitalists. Okay, fine. Schmovidian cultists really believe that the schmaxines would protect them from schminfection. Schmepidemiology experts like Rachel Maddow, MSLSD, assure them that they would. Now we know that the schmaxines work well enough that the virus stops with every schmaxinated person. Maddow said on a show in the evening of March 29th, 2021. A schmaxinated person gets exposed to the schmirus does not infect them. The schmirus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else, she added with a shrug. It cannot use a schmaxinated person as a host to get more people. And now they are all sick with, a cold, basically, or are asymptomatically infected or whatever. And they are looking at a future in which they will have to submit to schmaxinations and schmoosters every 3 or 4 months to keep their compliance certificates current in order to be allowed to hold a job, attend school, or eat at a restaurant. Which, okay, hardcore schmaltists are fine with, but there are millions, or as I like to call them, wackadoodles, but there are millions of people who have been complying, not because they are delusional fanatics who would wrap their children's heads in a cellophane if Anthony Mousy ordered them to, but purely out of solidarity, or convenience, or herd instinct, or, cowardice. Many of these people, i.e. non-fanatics, are starting to suspect that maybe we tinfoil hat-wearing, schmovid-denying anti-you-know-whaters, conspiracy schmirist extremists have been telling them for the past 22 months might not be as crazy as they originally thought. They are backpedaling, rationalizing, revising history, just making up all kinds of self-serving bullshit, like how we are in a post-schmaxine world, or how science has changed. or how Omicron is different, in order to avoid being forced to admit that they are the victims of a global cap psyop and the worldwide mass hysteria it has generated. Which, fine, let them tell themselves whatever they need to for the sake of their vanity. My friends, it's like I always tell my people, you're not convincing me, you're convincing yourself, right? Or their reputations as investigative journalists, celebrity leftists, or Twitter revolutionaries. If you think these recovering Shmovidian cult members are ever going to publicly acknowledge all the damage they have done to society and to people and their families since March 2020, much less apologize for all the abuse they heaped onto those of us who have been reporting the facts, well, they're not. They're going to spin, equivocate, rationalize, and lie through their teeth whatever it takes to convince themselves and their audience that when the poopy hits the fan, they didn't click heels and go full good German. Give these people hell if you need to. I feel just as angry and betrayed as you do, but let's not lose sight of the ultimate stakes here. Yes, the official narrative is finally crumbling, and the Shmovidian cult is starting to implode, but that does not mean that this fight is over. Global Cap and their schmuppets in government are not going to cancel the whole new normal program, pretend the last 2 years never happened, and gracefully retreat to their lavish bunkers in New Zealand and their mega yachts. Schmotalitarian movements and death cults do not typically go down gracefully. They usually go down in a gratuitous orgy of wanton, nihilistic violence as the cult or movement desperately attempts to maintain its hold over its wavering members and defend itself from encroaching reality. As Rabbi Kessin would say, the Satan is dying and he has to fight like hell. And that is where we are at the moment, or where we are going to be very shortly. Cities, states, and countries around the world are pushing ahead with implementing the new normal biosecurity society, despite the fact that there is no longer any plausible justification for it. Austria is going ahead with forced schmack-cessation. Germany is preparing to do the same. France is rolling out national segregation system to punish the you-know-what. Greece is fining you-know-what pensioners. Australia operating schmorantine camps. Scotland, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, New York, San Francisco, Toronto. The list goes on and on and on. I do not know what is going to happen. I'm not an oracle. I'm just a satirist. But we are here. But we are getting dangerously close to the point where Global Cap will need to go full-blown schmashist if they want to finish what they started. If that happens, things are going to get very ugly. I know, things are already ugly. But I'm taking a whole different kind of ugly. Think Jonestown or Schmittler's final days in the bunker, or the last few months of the Manson family. My friends, okay? That is what happens to totalitarian movements and death cults once the spell is broken and their official narratives fall apart. When they go down, they try to take the whole world with them. I don't know about you, but I'm hoping we can avoid that. From what I have heard and read, it isn't much fun. My friend, the source for actually this is a gentleman by the name of, I guess this is his pen name, C.J. Schmopkins. And off-guardian.org. Very cool. Well, guys, I mean, he pretty much said it here. It's amazing, guys. It's really amazing. You know, today there was an article. First of all, yesterday there was a, today there was an article, well, actually, first of all, not an article, but it's a study about our friend Dr. Shmelenko with his treatment, and somebody did a really nice one in Australia back in November, and they basically showed that 236 out of 237 people treated with this thing basically, they did recover, and these people had all kinds of things going on previously. See, it says of the 237, 73 had comorbidities, including schmaiditis, 35% of them, Schmart disease, 36% of them, and Schmung disease, 34% of them. And 236 out of 237 fully recovered. It says such side effects, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting in about 15 to 27% of the patients were mild to moderate. No schmardiac arrests were observed, unlike this fake Schmansit study. Sadly, one 70-year-old female patient with Schmart and Schmung disease died after 17 days in SchmICU and 22 days in the Schmospital. So you're talking about the vitamin D levels. Vitamin D levels were very low. Yeah, guys. So that's that, and now they're even talking about showing things that have shmasibo with the people that got the you know what versus the people actually got the real thing, and how that compares. So, guys, I mean, like I said, if this is a study, people for sure got shmasibo, guys. People for sure got shmasibo. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, guys, what can we say? Listen, I mean, I worked on Wall Street, as I said before, guys, the only difference is, with this whole thing with Madoff, people lost money, right? People lost money, and that's okay, so they lost money. Not to say that that's anything great or much better, but people lost money. But here, people are not only losing lives, my friends. People are going to there's going to be long-term ramifications, for which obviously they will not take responsibility for. And obviously now, there's the guy, the head of Shmacks in Israel. He's like, first of all, he said that people who are 60 and over who don't take the Shmacks could be denied care in Shmospital. My friends, that's automatically a dereliction. This guy's doing dereliction of Hippocratic oath. That's number one. Number two, this guy is involved with Schmancer, and he's talking about how now they're going to be doing the you-know-what's for Schmancer, Schmaxines for Schmancer. And I think, guys, they're preparing for something, or something my friend wrote to me today. Here you go. He wrote to me the following. Was it yesterday or today? These schmatzis are doing experiments on Jews. If you read between the lines of what he says, he is a Schmancer researcher, and they asked him about Schmancer Schmaxines. I predict that millions of people are going to come down with a Schmancer around the world, a lot of them here in Israel, and voila, they're going to come up with a Schmancer Schmaxine to cure the Schmancer that was exacerbated by the Shmem Shmarneh. This is going to feed the pharmaceutical machine for decades to come, unless all these people, Has v'shalom, in which case they'll just shmil off the population. If they stop the Schmaxines, they're going to roll out the Schmerapies to counteract the negative effects of the Schmaxine. My friends, there is already and I'll end with this, there is already NHS UK, Doc Schmachter, who already said, this is audio of how he's telling one of his patients not to take the third installment, or not to invest in the third round, as it were, of the Ponzi. And basically, just one sec, guys, I'll pull that up for you. Basically, that, come on, what's going on over here? Hello. This, I think, because it was yesterday. I have to go find it now. One second, guys. Excuse me. Next page. You have to go. Here you go. Oh, here we go. NHS doctor tells patient not to take the third installment because they will be pulled soon. Warns that the data is being hidden from the public. A National Health Service doctor in the Shmuke, who was speaking with the patient over the phone and telling her not to take any more investments, and not to do any more, rounds of investment of the experimental, because the shots are about to be pulled out of circulation, has caused alarm on social media after a video recording of their conversation went viral this week. In the recording, which was reportedly of a telemedicine appointment out of Chichester, UK, a woman is informed by the doctor that because of the information that has been hidden from the public that shows the dangerousness of the rushed you-know-whats, they will likely be halted globally very soon, and therefore she and everyone else she knows should not take any more doses for their own safety. There wasn't enough information, quote. The doctor can be heard telling the woman, and it's a lot more coming up, especially for the young people whose immunity is intact. Immunity, apparently that's enough. Seeking schmarification, the woman, clarification, who was experiencing headaches she thought were related to the schmacks, presses the doctor on what she means. So, just to make sure, so you think I shouldn't have any more installments? If you ask me that would be my advice. But yes, the Schmachter response. Curious as to why that would be the professional opinion, especially since these experimental vaccines are being pushed across the board as safe and effective. The woman follows up by asking if that advice applies just to her or anyone of young age, which is when the doctor finally stops beating around the bush. because it's very much, as I said to you, there's a lot of information coming up now which was not available earlier. It was available, they just hid it. And very soon all of these things will be completely stopped. And this information that has really come up, you won't hear it on TV for a while, probably because it's a long story, sigh. But yeah, so it's very soon they will stop all of those things. People don't know, but yeah. Seemingly more concerned after letting the cat out of the bag, the doctor explains the side effects that are related to the vaccine to look out for and implores the patient to not allow her sister, who is set to receive her schmooster the next day, to skip the jab. No, please no, the doctor begs before adding, absolutely not, she does not need it, please no. They could rewind. Okay. Almost immediately after his posting, internet sleuths identified the phone number that featured in the viral video. The call was made to St. Richard's Hospital in Chichester, West Sussex, England, which only adds credibility to the healthcare professional's ominous warning. I've spoken with both sisters on the phone. I have a detailed account, which I've used to try and corroborate the story, including speaking with there's some guys on Twitter. There's James Wells, former British MEP and previous head of UK trade and business inflation. This is a guy with a blue check mark, this guy in the UK, including speaking with people at the hospital, my friends. It's all coming out. It's all coming out. Here you go. It shows her number here. He's a former member of UK Parliament. James F. Wells reached out to the women who posted the video to clarify the call. While Wells did not outright dismiss the call's content, he cast doubt on it being authentic after probing the sisters, claiming they provided conflicting accounts, and went on to question why a doctor would schmisk her career, giving a warning like this to someone she never met. How would a lone doctor have this info and not be the public? Well asked, it doesn't mean it's not true, but it's very dubious. Responding to a detractor that claimed the video was fake, one of the sisters took it to Twitter to confirm it was definitely not fake. Perhaps adding to the veracity of the claims, the original video, which was uploaded by Twitter user They Say It's Rare, has also been removed from the social media platform for a rule violation. Guys, I mean, blah, okay? There you go. It is unclear what the new data this doctor is referencing in her worrying claims, but several studies over the past months have warned of the numerous potentially life-threatening schmite effects and long-term schmomplications from these jabs. In fact, just this week, an analysis of the CDC's own data on deaths in the U.S. confirms that there has been a massive spike in excess schmets, hospitaloms, since the beginning of the COVID schmendemic, particularly since the rollout of these experimental you-know-whats. What is going on? My friends, we know, and I've shown you this, and I've talked about this, there's a study conducted 10 years ago, there was a study conducted very recently, Columbia University, that there's basically a factor of, not a factor of, but only 1% of actual events get reported into the Schmerz system that's actually implemented by the CDIC. Guys, we're about to see something very, very big. And as I told my friends, do not say we did not have this conversation. Do not say you weren't warned. Don't come to me. You won't be able to come to me. You can come to other people. You can fall on your face. You can cry. You can this. Chas v'shalom. You should do anything else past that. But don't come to me, guys. Don't come to me. I wanted to show you guys one other thing, but I forgot what it was. Well, if I forgot what it was, maybe it doesn't matter, or maybe it does. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let me think about it for a second. Un momento. Oh yeah, guys, I was blocked by the Shmiko Health Alliance guys, so that's cool. On Schmitter. What was another last thing that I wanted to show you guys? 1 second. Pause for station identification. Uno momento, por favor. Uno momento, por favor. Glad the UK has come to their senses. Yeah, listen, even if it was precipitated by a little bit of a snafu by Boris the Blade. Boris. It doesn't matter. Hashem works in his ways that he wants to. Oh, this is regarding, my friends, this is that doctor, the head of Schmendemic, the head of vaccines in Israel, this French guy. Here you go. This lady wrote, so somebody asked, will this head of vaccines, his name is Dr. Cyril Cohen, will he allow the use of IVM or some other therapeutics rather than only the vaccines? No, on his French Facebook profile, he mocks Professor Didier Raoult and blocks anybody who asks about the early Schmiedman. So no, he would never prescribe you IBM. He would just say, I'm sorry, I don't have enough beds for both of you, so I am forced to help only one of you, and it is your fault. You make me do it. He was born and grew up in Marseille, the city where Professor Didier Raoult had a science research hospital built by the EU. At the very beginning of the crisis, Cyril said he would be happy to pay Didier a visit when he goes back to Marseille. But as soon as Netanyahu put all his bet on Pfizer Schmexin, and so as soon as establishment started the demolition process of Didier's reputation, Cyril turned his coat really quick and said he wished Didier would just keep quiet, and he blocked anybody who even mentioned Didier's name. Nice, right, guys? Very nice. And she writes, I don't like Cyril anymore because he did not allow for free speech on his French Facebook, so I don't think I'm here to defend him. Yet I have to respect the truth, and the truth is Cyril is not saying anybody should be denied hospital care. His host, Howard Stern, is not saying this either. That's not his host, but okay. Howard, on the contrary, is asking if denying care according to status will not drag us down an endless hellish path where almost everybody would be denied care in the end as a punishment for taking the risk of sportsmen take the risk to get injured, smokers eating sugary food, eating processed food, alcohol, driving cars, swim, pills to not have babies, taking pills to have an erection, having surgery to strengthen your teeth can lead you to end up in ICU, traveling to countries known for their endemic diseases. He is asking a good question for those who are piling against the unvaccinated and won't let go off us. To his question, Cyril is replying that taking the jab should be a personal free decision. He even says freedom of choice is given. But for him, there's something else beyond this freedom that he wishes people would take into account when they take their free decision. In the end, God forbid if we should end up in ICU together with an 18 years old, very ill and vaccinated child, is it fair for the child to be left alone while hospital resources are dedicated to you? Because I thought your vital signs show more probability for you to survive than the child. That's all he's asking. So really what he's suggesting is the opposite of what this publication said he said. He's suggesting that in such case, if your vital signs show more chances, blah, 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 I would reply that the situation not happen, would not have to choose if the establishment had not banned, demonized the early treatment. Yeah, that's precisely the point. Precisely the point, lady. Okay, so him saying that is like a non-blah. Okay, it's a non-thing. But the fact that he has that thought is whack. Do you understand? He let the cat, his own crazy psychotic cat, out of the bag. My friends, you know, this is going to be interesting in the coming weeks to see what's going to happen and the way it's going to happen. This is going to be very, very interesting. And I will say one quick thing. Here we go. This was posted by a certain rabbi. I'm not going to say his name. From time to time, he gets removed. His stuff gets removed. An amazing thing, and something that my friend Ephraim will like. The Gemara says a lot of interesting things, a lot of kind of controversial sounding things. And one of the things it likes to say is that even the best of doctors can go to Gehinnom, can go to not a nice place after they pass from this world. So he says, our sages taught that the best of doctors go to Gehinnom. The numerical value, gematria, of this expression equals to the value of, this is Tavshin Pei Bet. Tov Sheberofim Legehinom. So, i.e., the numerals of this year, 5782. So Tov Sheberofim Legehinom equals 794. Ze Tov Shin Pei Bet. Note, the source for this teaching is Kedushin, Tractate Kedushin, page 82a, hinting that to the first half of the year, 82, our present time of year. Amazing, guys. This is amazing. Now, you may say, oh, Gematria, oh, it's cute, oh, whatever. Guys, you know, God forbid Hashem should speak to us in code, and God forbid we should figure out how he's speaking to us and what he's trying to tell us. You know? Listen, guys, I recently spoke to a pharmacist, and the guy basically told me, listen, we were talking about this major from Shmarpa, DARPA, who actually said, one of you guys is going to have to come forward and blow the whistle here. And he actually, the major, the Marine guy said, listen, the world and the country will forgive you. And I mentioned this to a pharmacist guy. I'm not going to say where. And he goes to me, no, ain't no forgiveness. You got to do very public tribunal to show that nobody can do anything like this ever again. I said, listen, that's fine, but the person that comes forward, we have to have rachamim on him. Whatever that looks like, only like a few years in jail, whatever it is. But yeah, guys, I mean, the people who are responsible for this, there's going to be what to pay. I could tell you that, and they're not going to be able to get out of it. And yeah, guys, we're going to see it. We're going to see it soon. B'ezrat Hashem. And like I said, whether it's a Ponzi scheme or a cult or whatever it is, the story is the same. The story is the same, guys. Ultimately, these people try to hold on and hang on and rationalize, and sometimes they get very, very violent, as you've seen. We've seen it in recent years. We saw it in history going back, almost 80 years, 100 years. And yeah, guys, it's not going to be pretty. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're all going to wake up from our stupor, 50% of us, let's say. And yeah, Hashem should help us. All right, guys, talk to you soon.